What is going on, everyone? Today is Sunday, November 9th. We are into week 10 in the NFL, heading into double digits. We had a great day in college football yesterday. Not much on the card. I think Mackey got one official play out for us. If you can see my hat, the PRT official hat, I was down in Morgantown with Jesse at the Colorado West Virginia game. West Virginia pulls out a cover for us there, 6.5. We didn't play it just at the game. Mackey was in Happy Valley at the Indiana Penn State game. So boots on the ground at some college football yesterday. We're hoping for a great NFL slate today. Make sure you're tuning in on the chat. Leave me any questions you got for fantasy betting questions, anything you got. NFL Sunday, Week 10. Let me know. We're gonna get through our top 5 games on the slate. We have a Germany game coming up here in just about 28 minutes at 9:30 a.m. kickoff Eastern time. Over there in Berlin. We can touch on that a little bit as well. But we're going to get right into it with our 1 o'clock games. We have the Baltimore Ravens heading to Minnesota. This is an interesting spot. Both of these teams here kind of very much need a win. Ravens are -4 on the road. They obviously have Lamar back. They've gotten a couple of their pieces on their defense back. Ravens are -4, over under at 49. Ravens are -210. Vikings +170 to win this game. This is an interesting spot because a lot of people obviously are kind of back on J.J. McCarthy. Is he going to be the future of the Vikings? He looked very good in that spot recently there for the Vikings, now getting back to 500, 4-4. Ravens, you fall to 3-6 here. This is a tough spot. Not an easy place to play. The Vikings have a good defense. And that's why I'm leaning on the Vikings here, plus the points. I think it will fall within that number. I do think the Ravens could win the game. I still think the Ravens are going to finish with a good record, so I'm not going to say they're going to lose this one. But I think the Vikings keep it close. A good defense up there in a tough environment to play in Minneapolis. I'm blanking on what that stadium's called, but that's an awesome stadium. Tough place to play. Always rocking there with the skull chants, as Ace would be saying here. I'm going to be on Minnesota plus the 4. Don't know if it'll be on my card. As always, stay tuned to anything, social media, Instagram. We're posting all of our plays. HitTheBooks.pod. HitTheBooks_pod on Twitter. Alec Pierce, we're going to get started with a couple fantasy questions here. Alec Pierce or Keenan Allen? Keenan Allen going against, obviously, my Steelers here today. Alec Pierce going this morning against that Falcons defense. I probably would go with Pierce. I think he could be involved in this game against Atlanta. I think a big game out of Tyler Warren, Alec Pierce. I think the receiving cores for the Colts are going to have to get going to move the ball in this Atlanta team that's been pretty good of late, covering a game against a New England team that's very good last week. I had them plus the 5. Atlanta pulls out a cover there. So I'd go with Alec Pierce on that one. We get a couple more questions rolling in here. Pitts or Wandale at the flex. Ooh, another Todd. Go Wandale. He's been Dart's guy. Him and Theo Johnson have been the consistent offensive weapons for the Giants since obviously losing some of their key pieces to injury. And then last one here before we get into our next game, Caleb Williams or Drake May. Patriots going against Tampa Bay. Caleb Williams against the Giants. I'd probably go Caleb Williams. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. I like the over 46 in that game to give you a quick pick. So I think both teams could be up in the 20 points. So look for Caleb possibly to even run one in. I like that play. He did it last week. Look for him to do it again. Bears offense is rolling there. But, to get into our second 1 o'clock game, speaking of Drake May and these Patriots, going to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay coming off a bye week. They are a 2.5-point favorite here. Over under at 48. Bucks are -145 to win this game. Patriots on the road +120. This is an interesting spot. Obviously, everyone's high on these Patriots. I'm going to take the Bucks here. I think off a bye at home, they get obviously Baker going, a week of rest. They Buka, one of those rookies, they start to hit that rookie fatigue. I think the bye week is big for those young players just as much as the veterans. I'm going to take the Bucks here, minus the 2.5. I think the defense is back for Tampa Bay. Look for them to get going here. Todd Bowles to throw a lot of different blitzes that Drake May hasn't seen at him. I'm going to take the Bucks minus the 2.5 here in an interesting game. Patriots would, fall to 7-3 here. Bucks get to 7-3. I think it's a tough spot to play in down there in Tampa Bay. A 1 o'clock spot. We don't normally see that, I feel like, for Tampa Bay. They get a lot of those 4 o'clock games. But, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay minus the 2.5 here. We have a couple more questions rolling in here. Quentin, Shakir, Slayton, J-Mo, Parker, Washington, pick one. Ooh, go JMO. I think he has a big game against Commanders. Stephon Diggs or Quentin Johnson. I'd go Stephon Diggs. I think that Patriots game is high scoring though. I'm going to take the Bucks minus the 2.5. I do think it gets up there in the high scoring mark. Look for maybe 27, 21 somewhere in there. That would be right at the 48. So I guess I'm going to avoid the total on the over, but I like the Bucks to cover this one. But we'll move into our 4 o'clock slate. Keep the questions rolling in. Any fantasy questions, betting questions, whatever you're going with. Let me know your lock of the day. Any parlays you guys got locked in. Let me know who you got in this early game. We'll touch on that real quick, actually, before we get into our 4 o'clock slate. Atlanta at Indianapolis. Atlanta versus Indianapolis in Berlin. Obviously the 9:30 or the 9:30 Eastern time game. Atlanta's getting 6.5 points. Over under at 48.5. Colts are minus 300. Falcons are plus 240. Mackey was all over the Falcons on this one on the podcast, so I was interested to hear that. I think this is a get-right game for the Colts. I expect Tyler Warren to be buzzing. I expect Jonathan Taylor to get back on his horse after not scoring last week. Look for him to almost guarantee get one. I like him first. I like him 2+ in this game. I think both of the running backs, the star running backs, score in this game. Bijan, Jonathan Taylor. Love that play. Don't know the odds on it. I saw Bijan was around, or Taylor was around minus 300. Bijan was around minus 145. So should be close to even money, if not a little higher. So definitely something to look at there if you're looking for a fun little prop in this morning game over there in Germany. But we'll slide into our 4:05 game with an NFC West matchup, two NFC West matchups that we're going to get into here in the 4 o'clock slate. The Arizona Cardinals heading up to Seattle to take on those Super Bowl contender Seahawks, who look awesome. Seahawks are laying 7 at home, over under 45.5. Cardinals on the road plus 260. Seahawks at home plus or minus 325. Seahawks defense looks legit. They absolutely shut down that Commanders team, who I've said multiple times this year, I do not have much faith in that Commanders team. I thought that last year, they were going to have a tough slump coming in, the sophomore slump, obviously the injury to Jaden Daniels, the injury they've dealt with all year. But I think this Cardinals team could be pesky in this spot. I like them plus the 7. It's scaring me that it moved from 6.5 to 7. I might avoid it. I think the Seahawks win, Cardinals cover. Probably won't see this on my card today, but an interesting matchup, divisional matchup. I always love the dog in a divisional matchup, especially getting a touchdown and an extra point. Something to keep your eye on there. So be weary if you throw Seahawks money line in a parlay. I think that could be possibly a scary play. Jacoby Brissett's been playing good. Obviously, Cardinals seem to make that official switch over to Jacoby Brissett. They're expected to move on from Kyler Murray this offseason. A lot of teams out there being floating around for where he could go, but what will the Cardinals do there? They're 3-5. Could they steal a win here? Would it surprise me? No, not the way that they're playing right now. Would not surprise me at all, but that Seahawks team is legit. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to win the game. Cardinals to cover. We will slide into our next our 425 game that we're going to cover here. Another NFC West matchup. The LA Rams heading to San Francisco to take on the Niners. Niners are getting 6 points at home. Over under 49.5. Niners plus 200. Rams minus 250. I can't believe the 49ers are getting 6 points at home. I know they've had a lot of injuries. This is a divisional spot. I like the 49ers plus the 6 points. I know this is on a couple of the guys are going to be taking this on their card today, so keep a lookout for this one. I'm leaning on the Niners here heavy. It was 4, now it's 6, so that's an interesting move, 2 points since we recorded the podcast on Wednesday. So unless there's something out there that I'm not too sure about, I like the Niners plus the 6. I think another divisional matchup, getting a touchdown at home is the huge spot there. For Cardinals in the previous game where I said I like them, they're in a tough environment in Seattle. 49ers are at home here, getting 6 points against the Rams, who are very scary. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford, they're all rolling. But yeah, I like the 49ers here, plus the 6 points. Divisional matchup. And then we'll slide into, remember, leave any of your betting question. Let me know your locks of the day. I want to hear some picks from you guys. We'll get all of our official plays out there around 11 a.m., 11:30. Maybe a little bit before that. So stay tuned to our social media, hitthebooks.pod on Instagram, hitthebooks_pod on Twitter. We are going to move into our Sunday night game here involving my Pittsburgh Steelers going to SoFi to take on the Chargers. This is 5-3 heading to 6-3 for the Chargers. Chargers are laying 2.5 points. The over-under is 44.5. Steelers money line is plus 125. Chargers minus 150. This was a 3-point spread. It's obviously dropping here. I think this is a spot where the Steelers defense is going to get to Herbert with the injury to Joe Alt, with the injuries this Rashawn Slater. Their running game has not been very consistent this year with losing Harris, losing Hampton. Kamani Vidal, how big of a role will he play? Can they get the receivers going against how this defense looked last week, causing 6 turnovers? I think the Steelers team is back from a defensive aspect. The offense has looked great all season. I think they won't struggle to put up points here. I like over 44.5. I like the Steelers to win this game. Take the 3 points. I wish it was still sitting at 3 for you because I got it at 3. I'm going to take the money line as well, though. I saw plus 130, plus 135. So make sure you're shopping your odds to get the best price there for those Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Again, we will go through some of these picks we gave out. We went through 5 games. I leaned on the Vikings plus the 4. I took the Bucks minus 2.5. Lean on the Cardinals plus 7. The 49ers plus 6. And the Steelers plus 3 on the money line. I think they get the job done there in SoFi on Sunday Night Football. I think that's going to be a great game there. Like I said, we also touch on our Germany game starting here in just about 20 minutes. Falcons, Colts laying 6.5. I think Atlanta is going to struggle to put up points in this one. I like the Colts minus the 6.5. I think the offense gets rolling there. Jonathan Taylor, maybe sprinkle on the first touchdown. Not great odds, but I think it's automatic with how he performed last week against a tough Steelers defense that was hungry to get a win. They pull it out, or the Steelers pull it out, shut him down, had a big day shutting down Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren. Look for both of them to have big games today. And then obviously tomorrow night we have Monday Night Football with Philadelphia going to Green Bay. A great matchup here, 6-2 versus 5-2-1. Packers are only laying a point, so this is a pick 'em here. Packers minus 1, over under at 45.5. Packers money line is minus 118. Eagles minus 102. This is dropping. I know I did originally say on the podcast Wednesday, I think I took the Eagles plus 110. So this has moved down to a pick 'em. I think we're getting 2 points. Now it's 1. Now the money line's a little bit under the minus price there. So I'm going to still stick with the Eagles. The line movement's moving that way. Give me Philadelphia on the road here. I think this team's hungry. The Packers coming off a loss. I think they're a vulnerable team. They're a little bit not as good as their record looks personally with some of the weaknesses they've shown. Even in wins against teams like the Bengals, a couple of these other games were, a tie against that Cowboys defense, like 2 losses to the Browns and Panthers. So their 2 losses are bad. I'm going to take the Eagles here to go into Green Bay on Monday Night Football, get a win. So we went through a bunch of games here. I think we have a great slate on the board. We're going to get into our team parlay, my mortal lock of the week. We'll get into that first, and then I'll give you the guys the parlay of the week. But before we do that, make sure wherever you're watching, please like, share, subscribe, whatever you can do. We appreciate you watching, listening, wherever you're at. Thanks for listening. Leave us a comment in the chat. Like I said, let me know your picks of the day, any fantasy questions, betting questions you've got. And then obviously make sure to check out all of our plays on social media, Instagram and Twitter. You can obviously catch all the links below wherever you're watching at. HitTheBooks.pod on Instagram, HitTheBooks_pod on Twitter. So my mortal lock of the day, hold your nose. This is an ugly one. I'm going with the New York Jets on the money line against the Cleveland Browns. 1-7 Jets off a bye at home against the 2-6 Browns. Give me the Jets, Jets. Plus 117 is the best price I found on the Jets, so I love that play. And then obviously we have our typical 4-leg parlay going out for you this week. Just me and Jesse cooking this one up. Ace at a wedding. Mackie, like we said, at Happy Valley at that Penn State game last night. So we got 4 legs for you. We're going with the Buffalo Bills on the money line. The Chicago Bears on the money line. The Seattle Seahawks on the money line. And the Detroit Lions on the money line. Plus 196, 4 legs. Cash you out. 2 games, 1 o'clock, 2 games, 4 o'clock slate. Cash out those 1 o'clock slates. Let's get into the 4 o'clock slates with a chance for the Seahawks and Lions. Both heavy favorites. Good teams to close it out. Lions off a loss. Seahawks look absolutely unstoppable. Let me know any last-minute questions you got in the chat. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Week 10 recap. Week 11 in the NFL. Stay tuned for all of our plays going out on social media. We'll get them out as soon as possible. I know I said 11 a.m. We'll get them out as soon as possible. I'm going to go finish everything up, get them posted. Hit the Book Stop Pod on Instagram. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.